Call a meeting to order of the Laverne Planning Commission, October 27th, 2015. Our first item is a public hearing. We'll turn it over to our attorney to handle the public hearing.
I'm going to call the public hearing to order, and it's regarding Planning Commission Resolution number 2015-01, a resolution to amend Section 4-114 of the City of Laverne Subdivision Regulations regarding streetlights. Also note that it appears from the record here that notice for this public hearing was published in the Daily News Journal on Friday, September 18th, 2015. With that being said, I will call the public hearing to order. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter can do so now by coming to the podium. Seeing nobody present to comment, I will close the public hearing and turn it back over to Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. Our agenda tonight, the minutes, since they're not ready to be approved, we will defer those to the November meeting for our minutes for the September 29th meeting. Under old business, site plan, Blessed Brothers, requested by Jude Laporte. Proposed retail building, 0.8 acres, property located at 210 Waldron Road, tax map 15, parcel 27. I-2, heavy industrial zoning district, property owned by Jude Laporte. Mr. Kyle.
Mr. Chairman, this is the site plan that we've discussed, I think, several months now. Basically, a few things. The sewer was the issue at first. They got the sewer worked out. Basically, all technical items have been addressed. At the last workshop, we wanted to discuss the color of the building further, and they had brought that, submitted that board, and that's the same thing that we've got submitted in front of us today. I think at the workshop seemed like it seemed to satisfy most of the members, so like I said, all technical items have been addressed.
Do I have a motion?
Chairman, the applicant supplying the color board, which looks more to what to be versus the drawing that's submitted, but so I'll make a motion to accept as submitted per the color diagram as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. Item number 2, recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Alderman request for subdivision acceptance for Phase 5 of Woodsong, requested by Rick Rochelle. 20 lots on 9.16 acres, property located along Buffalo Drive, tax map 32, parcel 5.06, R1 low density residential zoning district, property owned by L&E Properties Developers and Contractors Incorporated.
Mr. Chairman, this item needs to be deferred. The punch list is still not complete. I think there's, I think maybe 2 or 3 real small items. One thing was the, I think, small section of sidewalks not complete because I think a utility pole had to be moved, things like that. So, like I said, it needs to be deferred.
Okay. Any other further comments about this? Okay. We'll go to number 3. Final minor plat re-subdivision of lot 15, 41 acres, requested by Tina Dangerfield. 2 proposed lots on approximately 0.9 acres. Property located at 140 Greenwood Drive, tax map 17E, Group A, parcel 15, R1 low density residential zoning district. Property owned by Tina Dangerfield.
Mr. Chairman, in your packet, you'll see that there is a deferral request for this plat, still due to the sewer issues that need to be worked out. So basically, we can either accept a deferral, or we've still got a few items that still need to be addressed if not.
So this item be deferred. Number 4, rezoning of property requested by Mr. Bowman, 42.70 acres, property located along Lake Road and Sweet Maple Knoll, tax map 32, portion of parcel 2. Current zoning R1 low density residential, proposed zoning R2 medium density residential. Property owned by B&F Land Holdings.
Mr. Chairman, in your packet on this one, basically, we discussed this at the workshop. The applicant was asked to submit I think y'all asked for a clearer concept plan. In your packet, you should see a small 11 by 17 that does show more of a conceptual plan of what he intends to do. He's got it labeled out as basically the section 1 that's R1 that's already been under construction, and he's got a section 2 that's going to be R1. He's going to have future lands that's R1 that he's showing. He's showing a connection of Dobson Knob Trail going through the portion of the future lands going over to Walden Road for another connection for the subdivision to access Walden Road. And then, of course, you've got R2 section in the back that he's requesting for the rezoning on that. You also have in your packet at this meeting there is a summary that Kristen had put together in here. I think she said that she's received several calls, but mainly it's dealing with, you know, what type of zoning's being requested. They're afraid it was commercial or something, so once they found out it was R2, I don't think anybody had really any objections to the R2. They was just concerned that it was going to be commercial.
Do anyone have any questions for the applicant?
There's a comment, Chairman, although it's nothing to do with zoning, I'm trying to say, understand and discuss the workshop that the Dobson Trail entrance onto Walden Road, that we get access to the turn lane, declaration lane, as well as make some assistance with the junction of Walden Road and Lake Road. That's nothing to do with the request, but I just want to ensure that we keep on top of that planning board, which is going to affect the we'll make sure we have good flow of traffic. Get this parcel out. Either way, either the homes on there, we'll make sure we have good flow of traffic in there.
Okay, good comments, good comment. Any other comments? Okay, we'll take it on to the, we'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion and favor recommendation from there on.
Okay, I have a motion to send a favorable recommendation to the mayor and board of aldermen for the rezoning from R1 to R2. Do I have a second? I have a second. Let's take a roll call vote on this, if you will. Mr. Grant.
Aye.
Aye. No.
Aye.
It passed. Send a favorable recommendation to the mayor and board of aldermen. Thank you very much. Go to new business number 5. Request to set bond amount for public improvements for the subdivision of Lot 13, Section 1, Center Point Distribution Park, requested by Little John Engineering. 2 proposed lots on 108.16 acres. Property located at Center Point Drive and Center Point Way. Tax map 17, parcel 37.04, I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District. Property owned by CDPC Center Point Holdings, LLC.
Mr. Chairman, you should have an estimate, or everyone should have an estimate in their packet. This is the same estimate that was emailed out. I think it was the day after the workshop. I've looked over the estimate. Everything looks in order, and it's based on the 3 quotes, which they're also in the packet also.
Okay. So what was the total amount of that you're going to request then for the bond?
$415,100.63.
Okay. The top sheet right here is what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
the top sheets basically summarizes all of them. They averaged them together, added to 20%.
Okay.
Gentlemen, the recommendation and form of rules of the 3 quotes, so I'm making motion to accept $415,103. Almost done.
Okay. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Everyone in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The bond has been set at $415,100.63. Number 6, rezoning of property requested by Jay Fulmer on behalf of Ascend Federal Credit Union, 2.54 acres. Property located at 231 Walden Road, tax map 17, parcel 2.04. Current zoning I-2 heavy industrial, proposed zoning C2 highway service commercial. Property owned by Ascend Federal Credit Union.
Mr. Chairman, inside located in your packet, you should have a summary that Kristen had put together. You also have the rezoning request. This is the same thing that we discussed at the workshop. Of course, it's for the credit union they're wanting to go to, or asking for a C2. With the intentions that they've spoke about with us so far is they're wanting to eventually bring a plat in front of us and subdivide this into 2 lots, putting the credit union on one and then also having another lot to sell as C2.
Okay. Any comments from the members?
We discussed at the workshop, Chairman, and we answered most of the questions, we've got the questions answered.
Okay, I have a favorable recommendation for the rezoning of this property. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Have a second? We'll take a roll call vote on this, if you don't mind.
Aye.
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 All right. So the favorable recommendation to the Mayor and Board of Aldermen. Thank you very much. Go to number 7, final plat, re-subdivision of Lot 1, first chance commercial subdivision requested by Danny Womble. 4 proposed lots, 4.97 acres, property located at 5616 Murfreesboro Road, tax map 18F, Group B, parcel 1.02, C2, Highway Service Commercial Zoning District, property owned by Mike Webb.
Mr. Chairman, you should see in your packets, and it's also on the screen here, Mr. Womble has sent in a deferral request due to the fact that they need to go in front of the Board of Zoning Appeals for a few variances first.
Okay, yeah, we were talking about those at the workshop, so that'll be deferred, okay. Number 8, site plan, Nashville Ready Mix, requested by Jeff Bryant, proposed material silo at existing site, 10.19 acres, property located at 480 Mason Road, tax map 29, parcel 5.05, I-2, heavy industrial zoning district, property owned by Meadows Management Company.
Mr. Chairman, all technical items have been addressed from the workshop. There's copies of the plans in front of you that with a few minor changes that we had requested.
Okay. But also to your satisfaction?
Yeah, everything's in order.
Okay, do I have any questions from the members?
Technical items being addressed, Mr. Chairman, make a motion to accept the submitted.
I have a motion to accept as submitted. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Okay. Number 9, site plan. Smyrna Ready Mix requested by Mike Hollinshead. Proposed building addition at existing site, 6.00 acres, property located at 371 Walden Road, tax map 17G, Group A, parcel 2, I-2, heavy industrial zoning district, property owned by Mike Hollinshead.
Mr. Chairman, you should have a deferral request in your packet also for this item. I don't think the owner and the design engineer had enough time to get all the comments addressed to turn back in time.
Okay. Which one of these deferral letters? Is it the one, okay, I see it right here.
This is the one that it's got Kristen, it's an email, Kristen's name's at the top, and it's from Jamie Reed at SEC.
Okay, gotcha. So they're just asking for deferral?
Yeah, they just didn't have enough time to get the comments addressed for this meeting, so they'll hope to have it done next month.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir. Okay, number 10, site plan proposed storage facility requested by Falconer Design, 0.45 acres, property located at 113 Cheerful Place, tax map 17J, Group A, parcel 15, I-2, heavy industrial zoning district, property owned by MA Investments LLC.
Mr. Chairman, there's also a deferral request in your packets for this item also.
Number 11, site plan, proposed parking expansion and driveway entrance, Kennard Logistics requested by Dale Kennard, 2.03 acres, property located at 200 International Boulevard, tax map 17, parcel 2.10, C2, Highway Service Commercial Zoning District, property owned by Kennard Logistics.
Mr. Chairman, you've also got a deferral request in your package for this one.
Okay. Okay. We'll go to number 12. Rezoning of property requested by David Wills, 1.58 acres, property located at 671 Old Nashville Highway, tax map 28, parcel 20, current zoning A, agricultural, proposed zoning C2, highway service commercial, property owned by Johnny Lee Mullins.
Mr. Chairman, this is a request that we discussed at the workshop. Don't think, you do have a summary in your packet that Kristen put together. One thing that I was curious about, and it's in here, is, of course, they had a sign posted in front of the property approximately 1 month, she stated, and she said she's not received a single call. I know I haven't received any calls about this request, so not really sure if anyone out there has a concern with it or not, since no calls. Now, I think inside the packet is kind of self-explanatory about what the request is.
Okay. Okay. Do our members have any questions or comments about it?
I think we discussed the workshop and that's the rationale on National Highway moving forward with the city, so I'll send a favorable recommendation there, Alderman.
Okay, I have a motion to send a favorable recommendation to the Mayor and Board of Aldermen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second? Let's take a roll call vote on this as well, please.
Aye.
Abstain.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So with a favorable recommendation to the Mayor and Board of Aldermen on this one, okay. Number 13, PC Resolution 2015-01, a resolution to amend Section 4-114 of the City of Laverne Subdivision Regulations regarding streetlights. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, this is the same verbiage that we've been discussing for a few workshops now. It's got in there, you know, one of the requests was it's be stated in there that they're operational, and that word is in there. Has to be installed by the developer and inspected to be operational by the enforcing officer. It's tied to the certificate of occupancy, and like I said, it's the wording we've discussed for a few workshops now.
Right. Do our members have any comments or questions about this?
I think we discussed it last 3 or 4 months, and I think that's where we all agree it's going to work for us, and with that, I'll make a motion to accept the resolution as submitted.
Okay, I have a motion to accept the resolution as submitted, the resolution 2015-01. Do I have a second?
A second.
I have a motion and a second. So a roll call vote on this as well.
Aye.
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 The resolution carries. Okay, thank you. Let's go to bonds and letters of credit update.
Mr. Chairman, at the back of the packet, you should have the bond update. Everything is up to date. I have contacted the developer for McFarland Point to mainly discuss 11 and 12 currently, but I've also brought up 8, 9, and 10. They're going to expire in December, and I will be contacting the developer for Chelsea Estates because it's December 20th.
Okay, up to date on it. So the one that we just approved out here at Center Point will be on this list before long, right?
It will be whenever they decide to record the plat, because
Okay.
once we set the amount, I think we've set the amount on 1 or 2 since
Since then, yeah.
or
Yeah.
here lately.
Right.
And until they take the plat to be recorded, then I don't put it on the list, because we technically don't have a recorded plat yet that letter of credit, or technically, I guess we don't even have the bond or letter of credit yet. They hadn't brought it in yet.
Very good, very good. Do we have anything else to bring before the board at this time?
Just one question, Paul, there's one deferrals this month, is there any one thing that was causing that, or just? Is there anything that we as a city are doing that interrupts what they're trying to do?
I don't think so. I think basically, like, I'm looking at 3 or 4 on this back page right now that all had requested deferral. About 3 of them, pretty much the plan they had submitted in the first place, really didn't meet all the requirements. So once they get the comments back, it's such a long list, or there's several items that they've got to take care of. It's hard to get turned back around in 1 week. So I don't really think it's any issues with this board or what we're asking. I think it's more or less they need to submit the first time something that's more complete and meeting the requirements that we're asking for. And then one of the others was just, they knew that, they thought they'd need some variances. We told them they'd need variances, but they just wanted to make sure this board felt the same way, so. I think everything else has been deferred, like that one deferral on the motion or for the acceptance. I mean, that's just until they get the punch list done.
May I ask a question? I might ask this of the city attorney as well. When someone submits something to you that's really lacking, like some of these this month were, can y'all just not accept them until they bring them up and get them closer to what we're looking for? Because, I mean, we're supposed to have, some of them supposed to be stamped by engineer, and it's bringing a little piece of paper with hardly nothing on it, so.
I would say we've got to probably review anything that's submitted just because they are going to always say that they feel like it's a complete submittal.
But does it even meet the criteria that we've got in our sub-regs, though?
Like I said, I think we would just have to make comments, and then you can just turn it down if it's that bad. I mean, I know it causes a lot of work for us to review it and then give a whole bunch of comments, and then at the workshop we're discussing something that's got a whole lot of questions that even when you start giving them some comments, there's several other comments that can come from them fixing those few items, so it's real hard. I don't know if he's getting.
Well, yeah, for what it's worth, as the board knows, we're kind of in a process, it's a long process, but of getting some regulations for the Planning Commission, because there aren't currently, there's subdivision regulations, and BOZA has procedural regulations. But Kristen and Kyle and I are kind of working to come up with a draft for Planning Commission regulations. That may be very well something that we can address in here. The way I look at it, though, is it's staff's duty to help the board, but it's ultimately the board's responsibility to ensure that the site plans and other things that are being submitted meet with the code. Of course, you're taking the recommendations of staff and anything I need to look at. So to prevent an applicant from the ability to come before this board until staff does it, I don't know if that's possible. I mean, that's kind of what you work with the workshops, or that's certainly something we can look into to maybe have a minimum set of things that have to be met before a site plan or whatever comes before the board.
Well,
And something I can look into.
There was some this last month, though, it was submitted was so highly deficient. I mean, it just seemed like to me it's cumbersome for them to have to look at something that really, I mean, you just look at it to start with and you know it's not going to meet the criteria.
It is, but also, too, if you think about it, this board can very well deny something that doesn't meet with the requirements.
Yeah.
And we've talked about the amount of deferrals that one can get, and that'll be in there, too. So, you know, if somebody submits something on a napkin in crayon, and it comes back with a bunch of comments, and by the end of their 3 deferrals, it's not up to snuff, this board has a basis to deny it. But I understand the workload on it, so that's something we can look into in the Planning Commission regs and drafting and see if there's some sort of minimum criteria that has to be met before it could even come before the board.
I mean, I'm not trying to suggest anything to deter folks from submitting anything, but there again, there should be some minimum things that you have to do or have to meet before it even comes to them, you know. It'll appear to me.
And I think it's something that, like Nick's saying,
Y'all working
is
on
maybe when we, you know, it was on the workshop to discuss the bylaws, but since Kristen wasn't here, you know, we didn't really discuss those. I'm sure I'll be back on there next month. That might be something that we want to add as a section that, if it's not already in there, as a section that they at least have to have, you know, stamp plans and it, you know, pick several things. It's kind of broad, but it also, if it doesn't meet that criteria, then you just don't even review it.
And that's going to be a work in progress. I don't know if we're going to have this done by the end of the year, and if it turns out that something like that has to be done by ordinance to amend the actual code, if that's not something that the bylaws can do, that might be something very well, because the bylaws, the code as is right now sets out the minimum criteria for the site plan itself, for example. Whether the bylaws can alter that in some fashion before it even comes to you, I'm not sure. That's something we can look into. Maybe even have some separately set aside workshops to discuss the regs and what they can do.
Because I'm sure that Kyle and Kristen both advise folks that come in what they need to do to some extent, but still, it just seems like it needs to be a minimum things done whenever you submit something. You know?
Pretty much anybody who submits anything has at least met with myself and Kristen, or at least just Kristen, as far as like a pre-application meeting.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
And they're told at that point what they need and what they should submit.
Yeah.
So.
I got you. Okay, well, that was just my comment about it. Any other comments coming before the board at this time? Not, we'll adjourn. Okay.